there was a game genre that I would say I was the least competent at, I'd probably say the platformer. Which is a great thing because we're playing Celeste, baby! Let's go! Now, I've played my fair share of platformers back in my day, but I was never very good at them. But you see, Celeste is no normal platformer. Oh, no. You see, a lot of platformers help players out by giving them a double jump or power-ups or something like that. But watch this shit. You see that? You see that shit? That was a motherfucking dash move, my guys. You know what that means? This is a speed platformer. We are schmovin'. The only other speed platformer that really comes to mind for me is Super Meat Boy, which I have played before, but I quit after about the second world because my baby gamer fingers can't make those jumps while moving that fucking fast. So I was worried for a second getting ready to climb this mountain. But Celeste is something special. Celeste feels like no other platformer I've ever played prior. Celeste was still so incredibly difficult that I died hundreds of times on each level, but it was also forgiving enough that it made me feel invincible at the same time. You didn't quite time that wall jump correctly? Nah, we'll give it to you. Looks like you're not going to make it to that platform? Just grab the wall. You want less spikes all around the level? Go fuck yourself. But the way Celeste is just forgiving enough is the exact reason that it's allowed to be that hard. From the very beginning, it shows the player that if you die, it's not because the game is hard. It's because you suck ass. And goddamn did I suck ass. But not once did I die and blame the game like I had with other platformers in the past. With Celeste, I knew I was dying because I suck. But with quick and close respawns, Celeste quickly establishes that death means nothing and that you're a god. Now go bash your face against those walls of spikes until you make those jumps, you fucking nerd. Celeste is the best platformer I've ever played in my entire life, and that statement starts on the foundation of its movement. From the jump, you feel like you have complete control of your character. Every move feels fluid and perfectly designed. I know exactly how far I can jump and exactly how far I can dash. That's normally enough for the average platformer, but Celeste turns that dial up to 11 and starts adding all these other mechanics to your movement that enhance your experience tenfold without muddling or complicating your movement. Stars that refill your dash, bubbles that send you zooming in a straight line, springboards, cloud trampolines, reflector orbs, and my favorite addition that came out of left field, momentum. Certain added movement elements give your character momentum. Not like the momentum you normally have. I'm talking maximum. The type of momentum that makes you go. Why was the addition of momentum my favorite? Well, because it makes me feel like I'm a professional speedrunner. You see, with each death, Celeste bestows the player with knowledge of the route, and with knowledge comes confidence. So every time I died, I felt like a better player because of it, and therefore was more confident in my movement. So when I got to blocks that would send you flying, I felt like I was on world record speedrun pace at all times. While at other points in the game I would take my time and calculate the jumps and maneuvers I was making, as soon as they gave me these launching box things, gamer mode was activated. I'm talking arthritis causing controller grip, spine bent to a 30-degree angle, fingers moving at Mach 5. I was locked in. Never in my life has a game made me feel so confident. Even though I was dying constantly, I felt like a goddamn professional every time the screen reset, and that feeling lays firmly on the shoulders of the game's incredible movement system. Movement alone is not enough to make a game great if you don't have environments for players to use that movement in. So does Celeste have the environments to back up its movement? You bet your sweet juicy ass it does! Crystal caves, ancient ruins, haunted hotel, bad acid trip, panic attack, out of body experience, dreamscape. This game's got the fucking goods when it comes to level design. Each level feels alive in its own right, and each has a great level of immersion to them. Celeste breaks its level into smaller single-room stages that most of the time blend together to create one fluid chapter. This style of level building, at least for me, made it feel like when I finally conquered all the jumps, avoided all the obstacles, and completed the chapter, that I had made far more progress than I actually had. In games like Mario, you finish a level, the game boots you out to the map, and lets you see that you still have way more to go to finish the world. Celeste does it a little differently. It provides you with a few challenges that you eventually complete, and then it introduces a new mechanic or exposition, and then BAM! You're right back to climbing the mountain. This fluid style of game progression, along with the interesting and spectacular designs of each screen of each chapter that Celeste offers, is completely unmatched and helps elevate Celeste to the top of the pack. Now I think I've established that Celeste feels and looks great, and that I think it's an amazing game because of it. But I'd be lying if I said that those were the main reasons I liked the game. Platformers are cool and all, but at the end of the day, if a game doesn't have a good story, then I don't give a shit about the game. Celeste has such a powerful story told in such a smart and simplistic way. Telling a tale of battling self-doubt, overcoming anxiety, feeling lost and alone and not good enough, and finally, forgiveness and acceptance of oneself. Celeste fills its world with characters that feel real, and they feel real because, well, they're relatable. Theo, the adventurer from the far-off land of Seattle, thrives helping others but never stops to help himself. Mr. Oshiro, the manic hotel manager, is so afraid of abandonment that he lashes out at you and drives you off himself, making the loneliness he feels his own choice. And of course, Madeline, the protagonist, literally faces her inner demons that she's been fighting off her entire life before eventually forgiving and accepting them, and in turn forgives and accepts herself. The game is incredibly beautiful and well written. I found myself choked up fairly often and genuinely cared about each character showed on screen. Remind you, this is a platformer, so to have an incredibly rich story paired with the fun and enjoyment of flying all around the screen is something that hasn't really been accomplished in the way that Celeste has done it, at least from the games that I've played already. The point I'm trying to get at, I guess, is that Celeste is a masterpiece. It's one of the best games I've ever played, and I'm not sure anyone is going to be able to come close to replicating the absolute perfection of game creation that the team behind Celeste was able to accomplish. And I am eternally grateful to them for creating such a genuinely great game and giving me an experience unlike any other. And I will cherish this experience for years to come. But then at the end of the game, the characters told me to my face that the pie I made was dog shit because I didn't collect enough of those stupid fucking strawberries. Fuck you, 0 out of 10.
You go, girl.